So we've got a week break between episodes 5 and 6 of the 100, and I thought, what's the best thing to do during this week, except to possibly think about what's gonna happen for the rest of the season. So theorize, predict, speculate, things of that sort. There are two major topics at the moment. The biggest of them is what's going on with Clarke, what's going on with Josephine, is Clarke gonna be back, and how is she gonna be back? There are also pending questions, like for example, the Eligius code. You know, the one that Jordan and co. used to find out about the mind drive, the very same one that's used to shut down the radiation fence. I'm gonna talk about that as well, my thoughts on the subject. I think it's a little bit of a plot device, but one that I'm hopeful they're gonna explain later on. But yeah though, without further ado, hey guys and welcome back to another one of my The 100 Season 6 videos. And this is my theory/prediction/speculations video. It's not exactly one of the three, it's like a mix of all three. But okay though, let's start with the very first question. How stupid are these people not to change these codes for all of these years? I mean, you're talking 236 years, and they've never changed the code. And that applies to the radiation barrier, that applies to the computers that they're using. Well, they are erasing the memories of all of those Nightbloods, kind of killing them, and replacing them with the mind drives. You know, the drives that contain the memories of the people that they refer to as the Primes. Now, to get started over here, that's a serious plot device. I mean, I know there are a lot of fans out there who will defend the series to the death. Like, hey, there were no plot devices, it's an awesome story. Yeah, it is, the season is really good, I do love the story that the season is presenting us with. But there's no harm in admitting there's a problem here, a problem there, something that does not add up, or a total plot device that shouldn't otherwise make sense. But to get over this point, let me just state that I think the passwords thing, the systems thing, is going to be explained as something that could only have been changed by the superiors within the Eligius Corporation. So these people do not really know how to do that. They didn't have a tech whiz amongst them. Pretty much when they decided to become a community, start rezzing people, the people that we now know as the Primes, like over and over again. But yeah though, it's a total plot device. I know a lot of people have built theories upon it, like basically these people are not that smart. I don't think they're gonna present us with a villain who's not that smart. That doesn't make any kind of sense. I mean seriously, if them not changing the passwords was a little bit of a plot hole or a plot device or a plot of convenience, whatever you want to call it, it's a very minor one in comparison with them presenting us with a villain who's not that smart. That wouldn't make any kind of sense, would it now? But yeah though, that's the first part I wanted to get out of the way, because I don't want that to be an argument against any theory or with any theory. But speaking though of Clarke and Josephine, speaking of Eliza Taylor's roles in general on the series, there's a lot of ways she could get her memories back. Now for one thing, and based on what we watched on the most recent episode of the season, that being episode 5, The Gospel of Josephine, we know that that first girl who did become Josephine was hooked to a lot of machines, she was hooked to a lot of monitors, and she was definitely hooked to a lot of computers. So that brings us to a very important question. If they had those mind drives with them to start with, the use of those mind drives could have possibly been about not just storing data, but also downloading data to those computers. Like there's probably a way to download all the data on the mind drives to those PCs, to those computers over there, and hence there is a possibility that every time they try to wipe one of these people, the only way to do a mind wipe to erase their consciousness and to erase their memories was to either download them to another mind drive or to download them to one of those PCs, one of those computers. So that's basically one of two ways that we could get Clarke back. It's the simpler way though, and the series is not known to do things the simple way. We gotta go the other way, the more complicated way, the way that keeps a lot of viewers on the edges of their seats. I believe that sometimes one of the problems gotta have a simpler solution, like you gotta take a simpler route, let's call it that. But however though, the more complicated way, the more complicated route is basically the more interesting route. So I'm not really complaining about that. So what is the more complicated route, the more difficult route? It's the route or the way of the flame. We are gonna see the flame that's implanted in Maddie at the moment, implanted in Clarke, because Clarke did have the flame implanted in her before. So the flames basically got a lot of her memories, a lot of her consciousness within it, as part of, the memories and the consciousness of a lot of commanders before, but nonetheless, part of that flame is Clarke. The only problem is you implant that flame into Josephine and you've got something different. You've got the Josephine commander, which will probably mean that we might require something extra, a little bit of an extra step, and that extra step might require Gabriel. reverse engineering the flame in the same way that he reverse engineered the mind drive in order for it to download memories and download consciousness instead of basically being the collective memories of all the commanders before the current commanders, the collective wisdom of all of those commanders, the way it has been described on previous seasons and on the most recent episode. So yeah, with the root of the flame, there's going to be a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a complication. I'm not sure if Gabriel is going to be the one to play that role. Maybe Russell knows the way. And that's also another theory that could totally fit with this one. Russell is tired with Josephine. You could tell from the events of episode 4 that Russell is a villain, Simone is a villain. A lot of people over there are really villains. All the primes do seem to be villains. But nonetheless, Russell is kind of guilty. He's kind of tired of Josephine, tired of the evil that Josephine brings. I mean, she is a killer, she is a murderer, and she's willing to go the extra mile. Like, her methods are unorthodox, unacceptable by a lot of standards, including those of Russell's. Think about it this way as well. Russell did feel guilty. He did apologize to Clarke as he was about to take her into that OR and basically delete her memories, delete her consciousness, and replace them with those of his daughters. So Russell is a villain. He's gonna be the villain for a decent while. I mean, we know from the trailers that Bellamy is at one point gonna jump the guy, try to beat the shit out of that guy. So yeah, he's gonna be the villain for a pretty long while. But I think by the end of the season, he's gonna get to a point where he's gonna be thinking, what have I done? What have I done to get back my daughter? What have I done to stay alive and keep my family and my daughter alive? That's gonna get to him, that's gonna make him change his mind, and that's gonna get him to err on the side of good. Again, just a theory, I'm not saying that's exactly gonna happen, but it is indeed a possibility, and it's not the first time that the series has done that. He could be a Diyoza-like character, start as an antagonist, keep being an antagonist for the longest while, before by the end of the season, and just like Diyoza did by the end of last season, become one of the good guys, one of the protagonists. But that, by the way, will also require that the Josephine story gets wrapped up by the end of the season. I'm not really certain if that's gonna happen. I'm not sure if that's gonna be a story that does extend over the course of 2 seasons, because do remember, this is book 2. Book 1 was like 5 seasons, all in all, and I think book 2 is all about Sanctum. Unless book 2, of course, is about 5 seasons, 5 different seasons, each of which does happen on a different planet or on a different moon, because we know there are others out there. I think the count at the beginning of the season, or at the end of last season, was 5. So there are 5 Eligius camps out there. But anyway, though, we do know that Gabriel is out there. I mean, the statement by Russell on episode 3 or episode 4, don't remember exactly, but the statement that we don't know whether or not he is still alive, he is still out there, that's basically the statement of someone who hasn't seen him in years, so it makes a lot of sense. But however, Gabriel is out there. He's leading the children of Gabriel. The fact that they refer to him as the old man is because he's literally an old man. Russell is an old man. Simone is an old woman. Josephine is an old woman. It doesn't matter what body they are in, they are quite old. I mean, they are at least a century old, given the, implanting and re-implanting and re-implanting of all of these mind drives. So it is still, in my opinion, that Gabriel is going to make it back as one or two people that we've met so far, possibly a third that we haven't met at all, but most probably 1 or 2 people. Them being either 1, Bryson, Priya's son, the guy that we met on episode 4, the guy who hit it off with Raven and announced to her by the end of the episode that he's a prime, he gotta attend the festivities. His mother was the one that's being resurrected. Now, Bryson sitting there did show a lack of interest in all of these festivities. He did seem like he didn't care, even though he spoke a lot about his mother, how awesome his mother was, how much he cares for his mother, how much he does care for this motorcycle because it is hers. However, though, this could all be an act. This could all be him trying to mask the fact that he's not who he claims he is, or the person that everyone thinks he is. But there's also, too, Xavier, the only remaining guy of the group of the children of Gabriel that we've seen so far, and he's basically very by the rules. We don't want to kill people. That's not our objective. That's not what the old man wants. He might be telling people that that's not what the old man wants when he's actually conveying his own message. He is the old man. Once again, let me remind you that the assumption that the old man is a description of the age of the body that Gabriel is in is not really a solid assumption, because we do know that these people are inherently old due to the number of times that they have been resurrected and the number of years that their memories and their consciousnesses have really lived. But that also brings us to another theory. Just in case Xavier over here was actually Gabriel, I do believe that Bryson has still got a role to play, that he's not really content with everything that's going on by the Primes. He might be fed up already, like unhappy with this eternal life, the entire being brought back to life over and over again. And hence he's one more eye for the children of Gabriel within this camp. It wasn't just the doctor. The doctor reveal felt too easy, felt too fast, and I don't think that the children of Gabriel or Gabriel has got just the one eye within the camp that's basically doing his bidding. I think there's a lot more, and it would be one hell of a twist to get one of the Primes on the side of Gabriel. After all, Gabriel himself is a Prime if you think about it. He invented the mechanism, or reverse engineered the mechanism that made them into Primes, which makes him a Prime as well, by the way. So what the hell? Maybe another Prime got fed up, got tired, and decided the hell with all of this. Okay, I just noticed I'm still using the name Bryson instead of the name Riker, due to the fact that I did hear the name wrong the first time around. So I'm gonna be working on correcting that on future videos, but nonetheless, don't make that the focus of all your comments in the comments down below, because this is a 15-minute video. You're not here to nitpick, at least I believe so. So please do focus on the bigger subjects, the more important stuff at hand. But okay though, there's one more thing that I want to expand on over here that I couldn't expand on my review of the most recent episode, because the review video was already getting out of control, getting too long. Yeah, that's basically the issue of Murphy. Why is he cooperating with Josephine? What's he gonna do for Josephine? And how is he gonna operate for the rest of the season? Now, I believe what Clarke needs out of Murphy is either one of two things. Number one, she needs him to communicate with Abby, try to get Abby to make more of the blood, and that blood would be injected or inserted in so many people for a full circulation in order to make sure that they have got more Nightbloods in order to get back more Primes and get them back faster. But number two, and this is the one that I really think that Josephine is gonna go for, she needs Murphy to teach her more, tell her more about Clarke. How do I get to Abby, make her believe fully that I'm her daughter, and hit her where it hurts? She needs to know more about Marcus, because that's the one thing that Abby is obsessing about at the moment, because if she does know more about Marcus, she's gonna use that information in order to convince Abby, probably as well in a twisted fashion, that they need to create more Nightblood in order to get things going. There's the possibility that she's gonna convince her that you could do this for those bad people that rule Sanctum, and they could help us with Marcus. She'll probably convince her that she could strike a deal with them. You help Marcus, in return for us basically giving you more of the Nightblood. And that's gonna be a good motive for Abby, enough motive for Abby. Remember that entire speech at the end of episode 4, he is the best of us. He's the only good one. The only one that stood up to Octavia, stood in front of the tyranny of Octavia throughout the Dark Years. But Murphy though, on the other hand, what's he gonna do? I think that Murphy's got a trend throughout previous seasons. Yes, he's an ass, yes, he's a roach, or he's been called so, but nonetheless, Murphy has always been Murphy. A bad guy, a seemingly bad guy, rough on the outside, but has always done what's good for the 100. So for a moment he might be doing what he's always done at the beginning of every scenario, looking out for number one, looking out for himself, but in the end he's gonna turn around and start helping the 100, start making sure that they are fine, that they are safe, that no harm comes to them, and probably in the process help get Clarke back. The other option over here is she's been preying on his fears are real, and they are gonna get the better of him. He's gonna agree with her, he's gonna work with her for a while, but that's once again Murphy. Classic Murphy. He's done it both ways. He started looking out for himself, and then he's turned, or he started from the get-go, trying to save all of his own people. So yeah, to sum up, Murphy is gonna be Murphy. He's not gonna change. He's gonna do what's right in the end. The only question over here is it gonna be right away, or is it gonna be sometime? Is it gonna be every man for himself for a while before he does the right thing? With that being said though, my work here is done, so let me know in the comments down below if you've got any other theories than the ones I mentioned over here. Let me know what you thought of these theories that I listed, and let me know if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, subscribing to this channel, and make sure while you're at it to enable notifications in order to get updates whenever I upload a new video, publish a new community post, or start a new live stream. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, the 100 or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and have a great day.